The fluorescent lights of General Hospital flickered faintly, as if even the building sensed the tension saturating every corner of Port Charles that night. Nurses moved with clipped urgency. Doctors murmured in hurried tones. And in trauma too, Drew Kane lay motionless beneath the stark glow of the overhead lamp, a thin line of blood trailing down his side as the monitors beeped in uneven staccato. Sam stood just outside the room, her hands trembling despite every effort to still them.
Scout had been left with Danny.
Jason was on the road, speeding back from a warehouse meeting.
And Carly?
Carly was pacing the hallway with the fury of a woman desperate for control in a situation she couldn't fix. But Alexis Davis, attorney, mother, truth seeker, stood apart from them all, frozen in place, staring through the glass window at Drew as though the truth of the shooting were bound to reveal itself in the spaces between his breaths. Because Alexis knew something the others didn't.
Drew had whispered to her before he lost consciousness.
A single statement, slurred by blood loss and shock, but unmistakable, undeniable.
And it wasn't what anyone expected.
Alexis, don't say who it was.
Not yet.
Promise me. The words echoed in her mind on an endless loop, louder than the monitors, louder than Sam's heartbroken sobs, louder than Carly's questions. Because the identity of the shooter, the truth Drew forced into her hands, was a truth that could blow Port Charles apart.
And now Drew was slipping away.
And with him, the last chance to understand why he wanted silence.
Alexis pressed a hand against the glass.
Hold on, Drew, she whispered. You cannot leave me with this. Hours earlier, the evening had been painfully ordinary. Drew had taken a late meeting at the Invaders' new downtown office space. Alexis, newly restructured after months of rebuilding her life and her paper, had assigned him a piece she suspected might be explosive, but even she underestimated how fast the match would reach the fuse.
The story involved an old case file connected to someone in Port Charles. Someone powerful. Someone ruthless.
Drew had texted her just after 9 p.m.
Found something big.
Heading your way.
But he never made it.
According to the evidence, Drew was ambushed in the garage behind the Invader building.
No witnesses. No cameras.
Just a single shell casing, a partial footprint, and a trail of blood to where his body was found slumped beside his car. The moment Alexis learned he'd been shot, she raced to the hospital. She reached him just as he was being wheeled toward trauma. He grabbed her wrist. Alexis, I know who did it. Don't tell Sam. Don't tell anyone. Promise me. And then, barely audible. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I was trying to protect them. Don't let this destroy everything.
Promise.
Alexis felt the bottom drop out of her world.
His grip loosened. His eyes rolled back. And then he was gone into the trauma bay. She made the promise.
She had no idea she'd regret it seconds later. The shooter's name, the name Drew gasped out before losing consciousness, was someone Alexis would never have suspected.
Not Sonny. Not Cyrus. Not Valentin.
Not Mason. Not an enemy of Carly. Not Pikeman. Not the WSB. Not Victor from beyond the grave. It was someone whose connection to Drew was deep, complicated, and shockingly personal. Someone whose involvement made no logical sense unless something bigger was at play. The secret clawed at her chest every time she took a breath. If she told anyone, it would ignite an inferno through Port Charles. Families would shatter. Loyalties would crumble. And the fragile piece barely holding the town together would collapse. But as the hours passed, Alexis began to realize something far worse. Whoever shot Drew was already watching. Already waiting. Already making moves to silence him permanently, and possibly silence her next. Sam couldn't hold herself together anymore. As the surgeon stepped out with updates that said nothing, critical, touch and go, lost a lot of blood, Sam lost her breath entirely. He left Scout a message today, she whispered, tears streaking her face.
A voicemail. Just saying he loved her.
Why would he? Why would he? Carly wrapped an arm around her, for once not the strong one, but simply present. We're going to find whoever did this, Carly said, but even she looked shaken. No one shoots family and walks away. Alexis watched them from a distance, guilt rotting through her stomach like acid.
She knew the answer Sam wanted. She knew the truth behind the bullet. And she couldn't speak it. Because Drew told her not to.
Because the reasons were bigger than vengeance. But Sam suddenly turned, wiping her tears, suspicion tightening her features. Alexis, you were with him.
You saw him before they closed the doors. Did he say anything?
Anything at all? Alexis froze.
Carly watched her closely. Yeah, Sam insisted. He talked to you.
You're hiding something.
The hallway fell silent.
Every instinct inside Alexis, the lawyer, the mother, the survivor, warred all at once.
But she forced herself to keep Drew's secret.
He didn't tell me anything helpful. Alexis lied gently.
He was disoriented. Shocked.
I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Sam stared at her for a long moment.
And Alexis felt her promise to Drew pulling tighter around her throat like a noose. Jason arrived like a storm. Silent, fast, unstoppable. He didn't speak to anyone at first, simply walked straight to Drew's door, resting his hand against the glass, jaw clenched, expression carved out of stone. Finally, he turned to Alexis. Tell me everything. I don't know everything, Alexis replied carefully. But you know something, Jason said, not accusing but certain. I can see it.
Carly stepped in.
Jason. I need the truth, he said, eyes never leaving Alexis. Alexis inhaled slowly. Drew, he was in shock. He wasn't making sense.
Jason didn't blink.
You're lying.
Her stomach dropped.
Jason wasn't cruel. Jason wasn't aggressive. But Jason was the one person who could look straight through a soul and see the hidden corners better than anyone else in Port Charles. Whoever shot him, Jason added quietly, isn't finished.
Alexis went cold.
Jason's voice lowered further, soft but deadly. If Drew told you something that could protect people, protect Sam, Scout, Danny, you need to trust me with it.
Her heart pounded. She had promised Drew. But Jason was right. And yet,
I can't tell you, Alexis whispered, her voice barely holding.
I want to, but I can't. Jason stared at her for a long moment.
And the look in his eyes changed, from suspicion to worry. Who are you protecting? He asked quietly.
Drew?
Or the shooter? Alexis had no answer. As tension thickened inside GH, across town another story was unfolding. A figure stepped through the shadows near the docks, pulling off a black jacket, stuffing gloves into a duffel bag. Their hands shook, from adrenaline, fear, or regret. Even they couldn't tell. The gunshot replayed over and over in their mind. They hadn't meant to fire.
Not like that. Not at Drew. He wasn't supposed to confront them. He wasn't supposed to know. He wasn't supposed to look them in the eyes and see everything. But Drew had.
And now he knew the truth, the full truth, behind the invader investigation. Behind the old case file. Behind the years-old secret someone desperately wanted buried.
And if he woke up? No. He couldn't wake up. Not until the final loose end was tied. And that loose end was Alexis.
Curtis found Alexis alone near the elevators, her face pale, her hands tight around a styrofoam cup of untouched coffee.
You okay? He asked gently. No, she admitted. I'm really not.
Curtis leaned against the wall beside her. What happened tonight wasn't random.
I know, Alexis said quietly.
Drew was targeted, Curtis continued. And he stumbled onto something, maybe at the invader, maybe in one of those old case files he's been digging through. Whatever he found, Alexis, someone wanted to silence him.
Alexis swallowed hard. Curtis looked at her sharply.
Did he tell you something? Curtis. Alexis, I'm asking as your friend.
Alexis closed her eyes. Silence answered for her. Curtis straightened.
Whoever did this might come after anyone connected to the case.
She already knew that.
Curtis stepped closer, voice low.
Be careful.
If you know something dangerous.
She cut him off.
I can't say anything more. Curtis didn't push. But his expression said he knew exactly what kind of secret could twist a person into knots like this. Hours later, just before dawn, GH fell into uneasy stillness.
And suddenly,
vitals rising. Patient responsive. Eyes opening. Sam jumped up from her chair and rushed to Drew's bedside.
Drew?
Drew, can you hear me?
It's Sam.
I'm right here. Drew blinked slowly, pain slicing across his features, but he found her face, then Jason's behind her, then Carly's, and then.
His eyes locked onto Alexis. And panic flickered across his face. Sam noticed immediately.
Drew, what is it?
He swallowed. Hard. Then whispered.
Did you say anything?
Alexis's breath caught. No. You told me not to.
Drew exhaled shakily, relief washing over him.
Good. You have to keep it quiet. For now. Sam frowned.
Keep what quiet?
Jason leaned forward.
Drew, who shot you?
Drew's face tightened with conflict.
I can't say.
Jason's expression hardened.
You can't or you won't.
Drew didn't answer. Sam's voice broke. Drew, someone shot you and left you bleeding out.
You have to tell us. Drew closed his eyes, whispers of memory flickering behind them. I know who it was, he said finally.
I saw them. They didn't mean to shoot. It was a mistake. Sam stepped back in shock. A mistake? Drew, that's not.
And if their name comes out now, Drew continued, it will ruin everything.
It will hurt the wrong people. It'll blow up lives. I'm not letting that happen. Jason's jaw flexed.
Someone tried to kill you. If they are a threat.
They are not, Drew said firmly.
Not anymore. Drew, Jason pushed. I need a name.
Drew shook his head once. No.
Jason stared at him, silent, furious, helpless. But Drew turned his gaze to Alexis again.
Thank you, he whispered.
And Alexis felt the weight of that gratitude settle over her like a shroud. Later, after Sam and Carly stepped out, and Jason left to check the garage crime scene, Alexis slipped quietly into Drew's room.
He opened his eyes when he heard her enter.
You okay? She asked softly.
No, he admitted.
But I'm alive. Drew, Alexis approached slowly. You cannot expect this to stay buried forever.
I don't need forever, Drew murmured. I just need time.
Time for what?
To fix what I broke.
Alexis's pulse raced.
Drew, who shot you? Tell me why you're protecting them. Please. He looked away, jaw tight.
It wasn't revenge.
It wasn't a hit. It wasn't a rival. He paused. It was someone scared. Someone trying to protect someone else.
Someone who thought I was going to expose a truth they couldn't afford to let out.
Alexis's voice dropped.
Does this have to do with the old case file you referenced in your text?
Drew gave the faintest nod. Alexis inhaled sharply.
Drew, if you cover for this person and someone else gets hurt.
That's why I need time, Drew cut in. To confront them myself.
To fix the real problem before more damage is done.
Alexis leaned closer.
Tell me.
Drew hesitated.
And then he said the words that would change everything. It was.
The door swung open. Sam.
Mom, Dr. Randolph wants to speak with you about a form you need to sign.
Alexis froze. Drew's eyes widened with relief, or warning. She couldn't tell which.
Sam walked fully into the room, oblivious to the monumental truth she had interrupted. Everything okay in here?
Alexis forced a nod. We were just talking.
Drew needs rest.
Sam brushed a gentle hand across Drew's forehead. Don't scare me like this again, she whispered. Drew's eyes filled with guilt.
Sam kissed his cheek, then moved toward the doorway, motioning for Alexis to follow.
Alexis paused and glanced back. Drew mouthed one word.
Later. But Alexis wasn't naive. Later might be too late. Because someone in Port Charles was already plotting their next move. Someone who had already pulled the trigger once. And the truth, the real truth, was darker than anyone guessed. The shooter's identity was about to rip open wounds that hadn't yet healed, expose secrets that were never meant to surface, and ignite a war so personal it would reshape relationships across town. And only Alexis knew the storm that was coming. Later that night, Alexis walked alone through the GH parking garage.
Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. We need to talk. She stopped dead. Her breath froze. Because she knew the voice behind those digital words. The person Drew had named. The person who shot him. The person whose world was about to collapse. A shadow stepped into the faint orange glow of the overhead light. And Alexis felt her heart stop.
We have a problem, Alexis. A big one. The shooter had come to meet her.
The secret was no longer safe. The real story was just beginning. Drew's shooter revealed. A secret spanning decades. A betrayal no one expected.
And Alexis at the center of a moral crisis that could destroy Port Charles.